And it's the story of Joe O'Loughlin being summoned to hospital because his father has suffered catastrophic injuries and is in a coma. But when Joe arrives at the hospital, expecting to find his mother at the father's bedside, there's another woman. And when he asks her who she is, she says, "I'm his other wife." The Other Wife is a really important book for me. It's a book that has to tie up a lot of loose ends. A lot of my readers struggled to forgive me after my last Joe O'Loughlin novel and the way it ended. In this book, I hope to try to make amends, and I think people will, I hope people will really enjoy it. All of my books are special to me. I guess this one particularly because Joe O'Loughlin has been with me from the very beginning. He was in Adrenaline, my very first novel, and he was the reason that I could become a full-time writer. So he's a very special character, and of all my characters, he is probably the most autobiographical. He's cleverer than I am, he's smarter than I am, but he's about the same age. He has 2 daughters, I have 3 daughters. I think we have a similar sense of humour and a sense of social justice. He is truly my most loved creation, and I hope I've done him justice in The Other Wife. When I created the character of Joe O'Loughlin in my first novel, Adrenaline, I never intended to write a series. I thought I was going to write standalones. I had ambitions that my first novel might sell 12 copies. My mother would buy 8 of them. So Joe was the reason that I became a full-time writer. And I brought him back now. I've brought him back for 11 novels. The Other Wife is the 11th. And I'm always amazed that he's been with me all these years, and we've sort of watched our children grow up together. I'm always amazed by how readers embrace a character and believe that they're real. And for example, Joe O'Loughlin has had 2 marriage proposals, which from readers so far. I've also had a situation where after the first novel, in which Joe's wife Julianne is pregnant at the end of the book, for years afterwards, because it took me several years to write another book, readers would come up to me and ask me whether she'd had a boy or a girl, and I'd go, "Well, I don't know," and they'd say, "But surely she's had the baby by now." And I think they assumed that I sort of had coffee with Joe, or he was my next door neighbour, or we had a drink every week. And I love the fact that readers believe that he's that real, because in my mind, I guess he is. With Joe O'Loughlin, obviously, for people that have read the series, they know that he was diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's in the first book. And I often get asked why I did that, why I would give my hero such a terrible, debilitating condition. And I guess I loved that tragic irony of creating a character who had a brilliant mind but a crumbling body, someone that wasn't going to be like Jason Bourne or James Bond or Jack Reacher, who could outfight and outrun and outdrive all the villains. He had to outthink them. I love Joe, and it's been 14 years now since I gave him Parkinson's, and he has got progressively worse with each novel. And there are times when I look back and I wish that I hadn't done it, because I know I created a use-by date for him. He can't go on forever, and I do love him, as I know many of my readers do. And when I first wrote the character Vincent Ruiz, particularly in the book Amnesia, in the second novel, where he becomes the main character, I was unsure. He was a little bit older than I was as a character, so I actually wrote his entire autobiography. I wrote 80,000 words of Vincent's life, right down to the detail of where he went to school and his first girlfriend, each of his marriages, all because I wanted to capture his voice perfectly. Now, most of that material has never been used in any of the novels, but I keep it safe because it helps me make him real, and hopefully he lives and breathes in the readers' minds as well. A lot of readers ask me where Joe O'Loughlin came from, or where my knowledge of psychology came from, because I'm writing about this, psychologist who knows all about human behaviour. And the truth is that before I became a novelist, I was a ghostwriter, and one of the people that I ghostwrote 2 books for was a brilliant forensic psychologist in London who had worked on over 100 murders and had helped catch 3 serial killers in the UK. So when Joe talks about his knowledge of the criminal mind, a lot of that knowledge comes from the fact that I had worked with a real-life psychologist who was dealing with real-life murders.